Hello and welcome back to Dark Tower YouTube, where we're doing a deep psychological dive into the magic, the mystery, the metaphysics of Stephen King's magnum opus, The Dark Tower. We've finished book one, and I want to pause before we roll into book two and just do a Gunslinger roundup and think about the character, the themes, the conflict. What have we learned that's going to be important moving forward? So let's start with Roland the Gunslinger. What did we learn about gunslingers? Well, a gunslinger seems to be somebody who's living in this Arthurian legend world meets the Wild West and had a baby world. King Arthur with revolvers. Turns out that Roland is related to King Arthur. In his world, his name is Arthur Eld, and the blood of the Eld runs in his veins, and that's a big deal. And that makes him an important gunslinger, and his father, the king of the gunslingers. People that live in this world don't like that. There is a revolution trying to happen. The good man, John Farson, is leading this revolution. And Martin, who is Walter, who is the man in black, is seemingly aiding and abetting this revolution in some way. We don't know too much about it. Gabrielle, Roland's mother, is having an affair with Martin. And she doesn't like the gunslinger thing. She's not into it. How much does she have to do with the revolution? We don't know. Perhaps we'll learn more. We learn that Roland kills his mother at some point. Didn't get that story, but we know that it happens. And that everybody that he loves is dead. So he's on this quest alone. He's a loner, Daddy, a rebel. And he likes it that way. But what happened to these people? What happened to Susan? Did he also get her killed from the dream that he had? It seems like he might have had something to do with that. But again, we're not quite sure what that story looks like. His friends are all dead. What's the deal? Perhaps we'll learn more about that. Roland still has the capacity to love, though. We see that early in the Gunslinger with Allie, that he just stays there to spend time with her. I can think of no other reason why he spends time in that town. Why doesn't he just keep chasing the man in black? Because he has some feelings for Allie and she for him. And then, of course, he meets Jake, with whom he falls immediately in love with this boy. Very strongly, intensely in love with this boy, and yet having this other part of him that says, well, he must be sacrificed for the tower. This is a trap from the man in black, and to get to the tower, I need to kill this kid. And there is the conflict that is arising in the Gunslinger. Roland's desperate need for love and connection, as well as him being needed by somebody else, and his complete rejection of these things in favor of pursuing the man in black and ultimately the tower. That's the conflict. This fear of love and attachment is part of the problem. We learned that from his youngest days, he was separated from his mother. Gunslingers are just pulled away from the feminine aspects of life and made to tough it up and face the dark alone and all of these things, so that by the time he's 14, his mother is this distant stranger that he still has some affinity for. And we see him even in his, however old he is in the Gunslinger, just thinking of her and remembering and reminiscing about when he was little and did have her love close by to him. We see Roland, because all of his friends are dead, becoming very fatalistic. It always ends on the killing fields, he says, except perhaps the road to the tower, which he is on. So we kind of question, well, if it's going to be different, then make it different. But he's turning to the tower to solve his problems. If he can just get to the tower, then everything else will be fixed. But then he's running into this problem of, but if I become what I'm pursuing, if I'm becoming the evil, the man in black, then is it even worth it? Is how he's questioning himself early on in this book. And he chooses the man in black. So yeah, he is kind of becoming that a little bit, but immediately regretting the decision to let Jake fall, having those two faces looking towards the life with Jake and the life with the man in black. and feeling very torn by that and just being haunted and traumatized by it immediately after that decision is made. And if the tower were the solution to his problems, we're going to think about this for a minute. He's like, if I get to the tower, I got to get to the tower. There's something to do there. I have to do something. He doesn't know what it is even. But if the tower were the solution to his problems, wouldn't it be a light tower and not a dark tower? Why is it a dark tower? We remember his mother talking about the only order being love, light, order, love, and light. That's the real beauty. That's what she said. The real beauty in the world is order, love, and light. And we see the breakdown of those things in this story. I don't think when Roland gets to the Dark Tower that he finds a live, laugh, love sign hanging over the front door. So we're going to consider that. These ideas of light and darkness, those themes that came up in the Gunslinger, still pressing as we move towards the Dark Tower. He is lusting for the tower. This intense need to get to the man in black and to the tower just totally gets the better of him. But there is this fierce internal struggle. It does happen. It's not easy for him to do it. And he is chalking some of this up to Ka. So we have Ka as a theme in this book, feeling like fate, destiny. But what is it really? We explored it in the context of ancient Egypt and the idea of life force and part of one's kind of soul mission to make it to eternal life, to the afterlife. And we've linked the quest for the Grail to the quest for the tower. So keeping in that Arthurian legend, the quest for the Grail ends with eternal life. So all of these things I feel like are just starting to be placed in front of us, starting to weave some of these ideas together. And this idea of Ka being the life force that may bring us to a good ending to our quest, perhaps. But haven't seen too much of that yet, but we're considering that. We were told that he pulls himself up into the light of a new Ka when he lets Jake fall. So there's another idea of Ka as being different paths, different timelines that one could end up on. Is this a good path? We're going to do well on this path? Feels like leaving a kid to his death probably isn't best foot forward. Probably not a great Ka here, but questions. So again, the conflict coming down to Roland needing to choose between love or the tower. Love and light or the Dark Tower? Which is it going to be? And we'll see how this conflict continues to pop up in later books, or if it does. We have had a lot of empathy for Roland throughout this struggle, throughout this journey. And again, we have empathy for him just realizing how he came to this, being separated from love and light from his mother at an early age, being brought up in this honor culture of guns and violence as a way of leading. And where has that brought him? And he even has some thoughts about this that differ from what he should as a gunslinger, because when we're introduced to the tower for the first time, remember that tower kind of his thinking of his mom and love and light, and then he's like the Dark Tower, there was murder, there was rape, there was unspeakable practices, all for the good of the tower, the bloody myth, the bloody Grail, all of this. Like, so he knows on some level that this is a bit sick and twisted, that there's something wrong here. He said that. He said those things. That was our introduction to the Dark Tower. So we know something is wrong here. Something's a little off in the way that he's proceeding forward and what he's valuing over love and companionship. Jake also calls him out on this in the Gunslinger and says, hey, I'm just a poker chip in your game, dude. Like, you're acting like you're high and mighty on this quest for the Grail and I must sacrifice, but I'm a poker chip in your game. and you're just like all of those other grown-ups that you were railing against all this time. And Roland gets really mad. He gets so mad at Jake. He wants to brain him with a rock because he knows, again, part of him knows that this is not okay. Something is wrong here. He's valuing the wrong things. And when he's called out on that, that conscientious part of him, his conscience kind of talks to him. He's not one for introspection, though. We're told that over and over again. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like this intense inner battle. His lack of imagination, not being able to imagine things being differently. When he's given those ideas of sharing with Jake what happened with the Oracle, he does have that idea, but he strikes it down with horror. Is he going insane to share this idea with a child? And then later, he has this vision of him and Jake training Jake to be a gunslinger, working together, and then going to get the man in black. And again, he's like, nope, not possible. Couldn't ever work. So that little imagination part of him, which we're told over and over again by King, so we know it's a thing, is part of this. So we're going to watch for that as well. When can he start to see things differently? How does he see things differently? What makes him see things differently? Can he? And until he can, he's living in this world of self-fulfilling prophecies. So we see that happening where he wants a different outcome, but he's not willing to make any changes to have that outcome happen. He can't imagine the different way. And so it becomes, this is just how things are. This is just how it is. It's always been this way. It will always be this way. And then he proceeds to drop Jake, and he's like, see, I told you so. That doesn't sit well with any of us, and we know that deep down it's not sitting well with him either. So that's what I've got, kind of a quick roundup of themes in the book. Who is Roland? What is he doing? What is our main conflict here? What do you think he needs to do? What do you think is going to happen? What is his character arc? How does he redeem himself? Can he redeem himself? Is this an irredeemable act that has happened? Is it just as easy as choosing love? Is that all he has to do? Just say, fuck off to the man in black? Love is more important to me now, bro. Is that what needs to happen here? How easy might this be or not be for Roland? And what does it look like when and if it happens? Big questions moving forward. Can't wait to dive into The Drawing of the Three, the second book in the series, to see how some of this appears to us again or appears differently, or maybe there's entirely different things going on in that book. We shall find out. But I love the journey. I love being here with you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking and subscribing, all the YouTube things. I appreciate it. I love it. Until we meet again, may you have long days and pleasant nights.